You asked for it, and we are making it happen. Today is our very first full deep dive walkthrough in Rpod ever. Hello, everybody. Josh, the RV nerd of Bish's RV, and if I look like I am grinning a little extra hard today, or I'm a little more jazzed up than normal, it's not the coffee enema that I had for breakfast. It is the fact that for the better part of 2 years, I've seen just so many requests come in to record Rpods, just constantly. And it took a while, but we finally got the powers that be to basically get together and get this signed up, and we are making it happen today. And we're kicking it off with the 198, which is one of their most popular models. And I understand why. We have a private front bedroom, 15,000 BTU air conditioner, Asdel in the sidewalls, Goodyear tire package for anything built out east. We're going to expand on what I mean by that in a little bit here. Tire pressure monitoring standard, heated enclosed belly standard for reliable extended season. But it's 7.5 foot wide, but with 8 wide axles so that you get amazing towing and stability on this. So it's better tires, wider stance axles as compared to the body, and tire pressure monitoring. That's an amazing 1-2-3 combo. If you are looking to really hitch up and tow and go, this is a brand you might want to get put on your radar right here. They tons of use of aluminum construction through their lamb witch, as it were. On-demand water heater, which some folks like, some folks don't, but that's the thing. I'm going to try to point out the good, the bad, the ugly with everything in between. And the trick with any RV, and this one's no exception, is that every RV's greatest asset is its greatest liability. Like, it is a little bit smaller, it's a little more compact, but every single Rpod comes in somewhere under 5,000 pounds empty dry weight. Now, obviously, you have cargo capacity on top of that, but it makes for an absolutely phenomenal easy towing package. If you're a flatland Southern Michigan tower like me, a good tow package mid-size vehicle or SUV might be an amazing fit for this. You don't necessarily need to go full traditional truck to be able to have a nice camper to zip around in. And we have barely scratched the surface about what these have to offer. I'm really excited to see what you have to think. So as we go, let me know what you like, what you don't, and if you appreciate how we listened to you and we made this happen today, hit that subscribe button. Let's rock. All right, so let's get into this. It's kind of funny. I've never recorded a new Rpod before, but I've always kind of had my eyes on them, so I feel like I've got a pretty good beat on this. Like, we've got things up here like a 15,000 BTU central air. When you are in campers this size, it's not uncommon that manufacturers quietly cut a corner by not centrally ducting the air, and with a private bedroom and private bathroom, that could be potentially problematic. I personally really support and respect the decision to go with a generally lighter color palette in a smaller camper. I think it makes the whole thing look bigger. They did give it some contrast with the seating, but I think that looks pretty sharp overall. You will not find things like floor heat vents in these. You won't find carpet. It will have a central vacuum system with what I call the electric dustpan over in the, once we get to the bathroom area, kind of centrally located in the RV, but we'll get to that in a sec. For the most part, this is just a couple's camper, but if absolute need be, you could fold this down into an extra little sleeper. Potentially a little kid or a big dog might be able to sit across the, well, I guess it is technically a theater seat. I'm kind of stumbling on that because this is technically a step-up slide system. And usually when you have a step-up slide, you don't get actual recliners. You only get maybe, calf area kick-out incliners. And that's kind of the thing with Rpod. I can find you a couple campers that'll be similar and $1 cheaper, but it's not going to quite have all the features this one does. I think that's also one of the things that has helped them stay so prevalent this is 15 years now. This is their 15-year anniversary, and I'm finally getting my hands on them. Now, when you look at this RV, you don't see massive campside window coverage, but when you sit down at the theater seat over here, when I put you in the driver's seat, it's not too awful bad, you know? You've got a nice big window off the back, which does help open things up. The entry door does have a window, which is privacy shade prepped. That's a literal, you can click it in and clip it in thing. It's like $40 off Amazon. And if the only thing you need is a privacy shade in the door, contact our team. I'm pretty sure we can make little stuff like that happen. What I haven't checked yet is the cabinetry. So we're going to turn this into a learning opportunity. First of all, I'm noticing that we have hidden hinges. We do have the traditional clips right here. A lot of brands have gone to magnets. Now, what you want to do is find where a stile meets a rail. and you want to feel back here, and I can actually feel that this is pocket screwed. But another way that you can do it, come on, phone. I've got friends constantly texting me all day. Put this thing in selfie mode, and you can literally look back here, and you can see the fasteners and the cabinet styling for yourself. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to see a little bit of a reflection of yourself while you do that. I also really like the way that they clip up their sink holders. So if you've noticed our Go Explore RVs, the stuff that's exclusive to Bish's, our own Wayfinder brand, we have a similar thing. I will not apologize for this. We flat stole that from Rpod over here. The fact that they actually give you a place to hook up and store the sink cover, that is something that we liked that they did, and we adopted in our camper. So giving credit where it's due and giving respect to Rpod for doing it. Now, all Rpods are going to be 12-volt compressor fridges. The exact size of the fridge unit might vary by floor plan. Most of these larger tandem axles are going to be 10 cubic foot varieties, but that right there is actually a really good place to get to see how it is a step up slide out. Now, you might have heard the door clack because I'm actually sliding my butt backwards because I gave you a quick wide angle preview when the video began, but I actually really dislike doing it as much as possible. Something I'm noticing though, I don't know if you caught under the dinette, there were household and USB plugs next to where I'm standing currently. There's some household and USB plugs over there for the other dinette booth, or over here at the theater seat. There's power outlets under the kitchen overhead cabinets. Like, they have put a lot of outlets in here, and that's an area that a lot of small campers tend to neglect. And we are joined by a special guest. For those who are not familiar, this is Mr. Ben, and Ben basically is Mr. Rpod. He's the fellow that helped make us happen today. And Ben, how tall are you? 5'10". 5'10". So this is a reasonably sized American individual. And this is one of the things I really wanted to point out, is that these are actual recliners. Because remember how I described this as a step-up slide-out? Most step-out slides is they have a jackknife sofa because it's less expensive. And if you're lucky, they have a little kick-out incliner for your feet, but they don't let you recline to chill out on a rainy day and watch TV. And Ben, thank you for taking off your shoes, by the way. I have such a thing about that. Like, I was raised, you don't put your shoes on the furniture, and it always grinds my gears whenever I see somebody doing that. Another thing I've kind of noticed, just in case it's not translating well to camera, they give you a simulated live edge on all of their slide fascia. So, like, if I don't get up here and point that out, it might look like it's all crooked and wonky. The guy who was cutting that wasn't drunk. More than likely, but if he was, he did his job correctly. That's what it's actually supposed to look like. So, giving you a look through all the kitchen storage up here while Ben sits in the corner feeling awkward, behind the camera. Now, here's a little note for you. A lot of people don't realize 2-burner stovetops give you 2 high output burners that can both boil water, whereas 3-burner stovetops, only the front one burns hot and can boil water. So that actually gives you 2 more functional burners while also giving you more countertop space. It does not, however, allow for a propane oven. So what they've done down here is they've given you an electric wombo combo oven where it's an air fryer, convection, and microwave 1, 2, 3 knockout kind of punch thing here. The plywood drawer construction is also something I'm glad to see. And in case you're curious, like, that's your on-demand water heater controller there below the TPMS module. And this is your converter fuse panel. Right next to the entry door, means God forbid you pop a fuse. It's super easy to get to. Now, flipping around from the other direction, notice how we have some household and USB outlets under there. So not all of the outlets are necessarily kind of difficult to reach, but you do have another set of outlets up there. But like I said, you'll see there's outlets, household and USB plugs under the dinette. There's household and USB plugs beside the dinette, between the theater seat, just all over the place. Now, that folds down to a sleeper, but it's a tiny one. So an adult is not going to fit on there. A little kid would fit on there. That's kind of what that is sort of made for. Also, I respect what they did over here. Because this cabinet was too close to the slide-out fascia, they were not able to put cabinet doors here. They would swing open. But they wanted to make sure your stuff wasn't going to fall out. And I don't normally love a bunch of netting, but I think that is the better way to go. Like, if they tried to shove a cabinet door in there, it never would have fit. By the way, these swing-out swivel stands, 2 of these are included with the camper, by the way. Don't they look like a frog? They look like a frog to me. Actually, using that as a size reference, I was kind of wondering. Now we're going to end up looking straight down, which can make some people a little motion sick. I'm going to do this slowly, but there's a big gap of space behind the sofa back here. I put the other one back here to give you a size reference. I was like, why is that there? And the answer is because that is a reclining sofa, not just a jackknife sofa. They had to give you room for your head to go back. So it makes sense. Not to mention, you could always throw some extra duffel bags or cargo or board games or something back there. Whatever you feel like doing. Moving forward here, this is a private walk-through middle bath. Thankfully, again, having central air, it will get some decent airflow. I'm at kind of a bad angle to showcase this. Tell you what, I'm going to slide around the corner. You're going to get a nice little look at me because I haven't activated my vampire powers today. But giving you a look at everything over here kind of in the bathroom space. It's a small sink, but it's enough. It's a small camper. What I do kind of appreciate, though, is how that created some extra countertop space. So you actually have room for your toothbrushes and all that kind of crap. Now, as we look down here, you see the big black box with the footprint that's coming into view. That is telling us that's where our central vacuum system is located. Now, in addition to having a central vacuum, it also has the bottom rectangle, which I call the electric dustpan. Effectively, you can sweep directly into it. So this RV is pretty easy to clean. Now, if you take a look on the right side of the screen, you can see the storage, a little bit of space there. Under the sink, we've got a couple double drawers, and then we have ourselves a very nice and enclosed linen cabinet. So many little RVs will give us an open-face linen cabinet, kind of like that cabinet we saw in the back corner of the RV, but Rpod does try to enclose things. And having this bathroom, frankly, has better storage than a lot of fifth wheels I've seen in it, which is kind of sad. This is another thing. They've been very responsive to customer input. Fairly recently, either last year or this year, they updated pretty much the whole family. Like Rpod's a member of the Surveyor family, in case you weren't aware. That's why you might notice some similarities between them. No Boundaries, Nobo is another member of that family. Ibex is another member of that family. You don't necessarily realize it, but they do have 4 kids that are all kind of related within the grouping there. It is 6.5 foot tall, though. So if you're a little over 6 foot like me, your head does have to be in the shower. Kind of keep that in mind. But I do appreciate the retractable shower door and the full shower surround paneling, making it kind of, it's a reasonably comfortable experience for a small camper. The toilet space, though, was a very pleasant surprise. That is fairly fluffy, friendly right there. And if you notice over on the right-hand screen, you see that black strap and a little silver knobby-jobby on it. You see another one of those as we go into the bedroom. It does have sliding privacy doors on both sides of the bathroom, so you don't have to try to do some weird crab walk around anything. It's just simple and easy. Now, because of the curvature of this, when we get up into the bedroom, they are not able to put useful, effective overhead cabinets in this. So they kind of basically just don't try, because all it would do is add weight and cost to the camper with no significant benefit. Certainly some storage would be useful than none, but they've opted out of that, essentially. What you do have instead, though, is like elevated side stands with individual side hanging wardrobe towers. And in case you're curious, like, how do you power your stuff? You do have, household and USB plugs on both sides of the bed. Now, there is a direct forced air heat vent behind me and to my left right now, like basically on the left wall as you enter the bedroom. So it does have that. Now, this is interesting up here. It has this big dual pane Euro style, like acrylic window. But if you notice, it also has this kind of slider 2-piece section where you've got the bug screen airflow window here. You've got the blackout nightshade with heat reflective radiant backer, and they do clip together. So if you want to split them and literally have it open air, you can do that. Or you can fully close it off. So it's like Schrodinger's windshield. It both is and is not a windshield camper. Now, I want to clarify something very quickly as we look at this footage here. What we are looking at today happens to be a Camp Queen. However, that is changing. So when this video began, I mentioned 60 by 80 true queen bed, and now I'm telling you something else. That's because this is changing and transitioning to a 60 by 80 true queen. So if you watch this video and you immediately go to an RV dealership and find this floor plan, it might still have a short queen in stock. There is room for a true queen in it. However, if you watch this footage in a couple months, or if you see a fresh build in the near future, I literally just choked on air. Wow, that sucked. It will begin to ship very soon with a true queen bed. Now, they had just this extra little space here. And again, it's not like cabinet doors would have made sense, so they added some netting. It's not huge, massive storage, but it's not nothing, so they didn't waste it. Now, it is ironic that they didn't waste this space, but they didn't potentially use the space over the bed. It was kind of a, is the juice worth the squeeze conversation. And there's always a little bit of the swag system involved in here. That's a scientific, wild guess. Now, you might have noticed, I have also, oh, hello, towel hooks. I'm glad I came at it from this direction. I didn't spot those initially. I like that. I like how they're also color-coded to kind of match the camper. I've also closed the Schwintek slide over here, and the controller for that's all the way in the back. So what that means is I had to close this and then slide back up into the bedroom to get to it. Now, I'm not telling you it is comfortable or easy to do it at my size and stature with my current thick mid-belly dad bod, but the fact is, I absolutely can squeeze my way through this thing without ever touching the slide to get to the bedroom and the bathroom. So what that means is that basically all of our kitchen and potentially our bedroom and bathroom are accessible. It will depend on your nature. It is funny to me, when people meet me at like RV shows, they almost always say I'm taller than I thought I would be. I mention all the time that I'm just over 6 foot tall in my videos, but somehow it always surprises folks. Probably because I use these like nice high angle camera angles like this, mostly because it helps hide this crap down here. By the way, that's a really fun thing you can do messing with your throat like that. You can sound like you're from the Wizard of Oz, like, we belong to the lollipop kid, the lollipop kid. And then you cough because you're not supposed to do that to your throat. Anyway, sorry, it is tight. As you can see, I am squeezing through this, and it's not comfortable for me, but I can make it. I'm not like one of those subterranean rock crawling guys who have to breathe out to push themselves through rocks. I'll never understand that. Cave splunkers, you guys are absolutely crazy. But you can walk from front to back in this depending on your body size. And if you appreciate the extra details like that, hit that subscribe button. Let's hop outside. Oh, that always ruins my throat when I do that. And now I gotta squeeze my way back through this thing. But again, one of the strongest qualities on these is their towability factors. Like, this is one of, if not the very biggest Rpod. And it's just over 4,500 pounds empty dry weight. It has a maximum weight of about 6,100, give or take. So in English, that means this has, I think, a fair, respectable cargo capacity. And it's less than 26 foot tip to tail, tongue to bumper. So it's not super long, it's not super heavy, and we are on Goodyear tires with tandem axles. And if I really kind of get you head on with this thing, it's maybe not as obvious, but this is a 7.5 foot wide camper. This is actually slightly narrow body. Basically what that means in English is that this RV is essentially the same width as most vehicles that would tow it. So seeing around it is a little bit easy. I do still recommend towing extension mirrors, by the way. But if you notice, there's a little bit of a fender flare out above the wheels. That's because they still ride on 8 foot wide axles. Best way I can describe this, if you're trying to not get pushed over because your friend is getting shovey, you're gonna stand with your feet wider than your shoulders. And that's kind of how this rides down the road. Now, up front here, I like the USB plugs so that, like, whether it's phone charging or anything like that, there's some motion-activated lighting up in there. I just haven't gotten close enough. Now, if you look over there, it looks like, oh, they screwed up the wall. They didn't build the wall panel. Look, it's already buckling. No, that's not happening. That is intentionally just a visual block-off panel and something to help prevent shifting cargo from smashing into stuff like your water pump and your winterization area. So that is intentionally an access panel that it's just there to keep stuff from slipping and smashing into it. Now, pretty much all these are going to have little outdoor camp cooker situation going on where we've got the little 18-inch gas grill going on. You know, it's funny because this channel has been around long enough. I've seen enough comments come in from people. By American standards, this is the upper edge of smaller moving into mid-size camping. By European, maybe Australian standards, this is a big camper. So isn't it funny how perspective really kind of dictates a lot of things? What do you think of the gold wheels down there? I don't see a lot of that, and it just kind of jumped out at me. Now, one thing, even though this is the first time I've ever recorded an Rpod new, it's not the first time I've recorded an Rpod used. And actually, I remember when the exterior graphics looked like this little picture. This is almost like a little blast from the past here. Every single year, they change up the little frog, and that's kind of a callback to the Forest River Owners Group. And you remember those holographic baseball cards? This is not a camera trick. Depending on where you're standing, the fire will actually kind of like change color and almost look like it's flickering at you. I don't know what kind of crazy magic David Copperfield, Siegfried and Roy nonsense that is, but I think it's very, very cool. I remember when I was a kid, I never got into the Pokemon card stuff, but I know that the kids that did, if you pulled a holographic Charizard card, you were basically a made man, like mafia level. Like your teachers were just going to auto give you straight A's. It was some silly nonsense stuff. But now that I've stalled for enough time and we're on the back side of the camper, we are telescopic ladder prepped. It does have a fully walkable roof. You can also see that you are camera prepped. This is also inverter prepped. So it's set and ready for up to a 2,000 watt inverter. They're on most of your, basically your Rpods have 200-ish watts of solar. If you look at a model like this, and it has a hard fixed panel elevated above the roof, that's a 200 watt panel. On some of their smaller stuff that doesn't have a flat roof, it's a little more of a teardrop style. They do need to go to a flex panel, and that will be 190 watts. So just to help you kind of, I like to say, teach you how to fish so you know what you're getting into. Now, when you're in these little campers, a lot of times manufacturers will omit little details like bumpers or a rear hitch. And what you're seeing here on Rpod is they have done and instead of or. But that's the thing, there are so many companies that have tried to take on and emulate Rpods over the years, but they haven't killed the king. Rpod continues to be kind of the thing that has defined its class, to the point that most other brands have largely pulled out of trying to directly head-to-head compete with Rpod. They just haven't quite been able to crack that code. You might have noticed that was a Schwintek slide mechanism. I like to point out the different slide systems. Sometimes people have certain preferences or certain things they like or dislike. I just want you to know all the details on this. Now down here, I asked the question, I'm like, hey guys, why do we have separate outlets for the bathroom black tank and the bathroom kitchen gray tank? And essentially because this thing is so small in profile, and the chassis is not tall enough, they were not able to cross-plumb that altogether. They tried. It just wasn't quite possible on here. They said they're still looking at some opportunities on that, but currently it is a two-headed sewer monster, but they're literally right next to each other. It doesn't seem like that would be the hardest thing to try to deal with, but I want you to know what you're getting into here. Up front, it is a single propane tank, so you don't tend to run into a lot of tandem axle campers with single propane, so kind of keep that in mind. But I love this acrylic Euro style window over the nose. You do not see a lot of this in the travel trailer market until you get into some very high dollar specialty stuff. And you might have noticed that that silver lining coming down behind that front window right there, that windshield, that's literally a heat reflective radiant barrier backer, and it does have a bug screen in there as well. So you can get max airflow, you can get just very quiet. If you pull that window shut, it becomes very quiet above your headboard area, and you can block the sun. So it's kind of functional if you want it, but gone if you don't. Another thing that I like about these as compared to traditional front windows and windshields is if you look where the seal is located as compared to the window actually comes over the seal. So it's making it very, very difficult for any sort of water to kind of wiggle its way in there. I'm never going to say impossible because water can do crazy things when you're going 70 miles an hour down the highway, but I think it's one of the better front windshield arrangements out there. So what do you think, everybody? This was a long time coming. I really appreciate your patience. I'm excited about this. I'm really excited to get this out there. Now, if you're curious where we're going to have these available and what they're running, double check the links in the video description. Whether you're curious or whether you're serious, we'll have them listed right there. Anything that we have in active stock, we'll have a discounted sale price right there readily available for you. And here's the thing, I know for a fact our Indiana Superstore is going to be one of the outlets for these, and that is located very, very close to the factory. So it doesn't really matter where you live. If we ship one out to you, it's no different than if the factory shipped it to your local dealer. So we can put these directly in your driveway, pretty much anywhere you are. And it's not going to cost you more than the place right down the street. Now, on top of that, you get the benefits of our RV fix service. And if you're near our stores, we do things like winterize the RV for free for you every single year. And again, there's a lot more to that. But I'm really curious to know, what do you think about this? So leave me some notes. And if there's a specific Rpod floor plan you want me to try to record, I've got a bunch here today, but if I need to come make a second trip to capture more, I want to know which ones you want to see. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.